Hey guys, good evening. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. I guess I should say good morning. It is 3 a.m. I am up early and wanted to do a trade review for yesterday. The reason why I want to do a trade review, I haven't done a lot of them lately. A, people have been asking for them. B, I did not feel like I traded very well yesterday, particularly in NQ and CL. ES, I had no trades, even though I had the locations nailed from a charting perspective. And so whenever that happens, right, it's time to get to work, get down to basics, and understand what it is that I'm looking for, so I can get my, get my trading back on track. You only have one or two things you can do when you're trading, not to where you consider your full level. So really didn't have a down day yesterday. I just didn't have a massive update, and it should have been a really good update. I should have had a 30 to 50 tick trade on CL, and NQ should have been much more profitable, and I just didn't put the pieces together. So what are your choices when you're trading poorly? You can go, well, I'll just come back tomorrow and try again and do the same thing I did the day before. Or you go back and go, let's break it down. Let's get it down to basics and understand what we're looking for the following day, so you can get the P&L and trading headed in the right direction. Before I get started, quick legal notice. You can read it. You can ignore it. I don't care. I have to flash it up there. Basically says past performance is not indicative of future results, right? This is for educational purposes only. And make sure you have a trading plan. You can lose all your money trading futures. Can't be any more blunt than that. The mass majority of people actually fail day trading. Makes it tough to market to people, doesn't it? But the truth is the mass majority of retail traders just can't succeed on a long-term basis. Almost everyone makes money, but very, very few hold on to that. My job as a trading coach is to help people hold on to that money. The other important thing that people should know about my trading, and I find this a lot of traders, I tend to make my big jumps in P&L in two to three times a year, and the rest of the time I'm just grinding it out, right? I don't mind flat days or even slightly down days, as long as I'm not giving back big pullbacks or big drawdowns in my capital. So let's get started. We'll start with the yes. Number one. These were the support resistance levels, and the critical levels are in yellow and white on my charts. The blue areas are support and resistance. However, they are the weakest support and resistance, and you can see we traded right through those in the day session. But, right, so everyone asks, well, why do you put it on there? Because it does give counter rotation, right? If we get rid of these arrows real quick, and I'm going to try to keep this to 10 minutes. So let me start a 10-minute countdown timer. Start a 10-minute countdown timer. There we go.
Setting the timer.
My phone will go off in 10 minutes.
Your timer is set for 10 minutes.
So the first thing you'll notice is we did travel zone to zone today, from the yellow zone to yellow zone. This was mid of a half gap. I said in the market preview, it was broadcast and recorded. I said that you had a great chance of getting a fantastic trade out of this location. Even with that and knowing how good a trade location that was, I didn't get the long NES out of that location, nor did I get NQ out of that location. Either one, I kind of totally fumbled there. However, from a understanding the market standpoint, that's the mid of a half gap. It's easiest to show on a profile chart, so I'm going to drag that over while not throwing around my various mice I have sitting on my desk. I'm going to drag this from my other screen. This is the ES profile. And two things you will notice. First of all, we came right into the 50-60 retrace, which again I highlighted. I highlighted this in the morning. I said you're highly likely to get a response. I said write down those numbers, and we got a response out of that in the ES. But number two, if you will look really, 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 really closely within there, you will see that we gapped away and did not close the gap here. If I spread this way out, see how there was the tiniest of gaps between here and here. And usually when we come right in the middle, we will get a response. So when you look to the right, you will see, zoom all that in, we came right to the mid of the half gap and we pushed back up. It's important that you know those areas because they provide important trade location and give you very good odds of a high RR. Okay. Number two, going through the process. we've been going up, right? Look at the bigger picture, right? Like that's a total bull market. You don't want to get bearish in the hole. That sin we did not commit today. We weren't looking short while we were at the bottom. I just didn't execute very well coming out of those lows and hold on to the trade. So that was ES for the day. Basically, we went zone to zone, and there's only 3 people in the room I know that caught it. Peter was one of them, and he posted repeatedly in the Tough Trade. We have a Slack channel, and Peter posted repeatedly in the morning that he was long out of these levels. You'll see the conversation that pops up here through the course of the day between various members. And Peter was up early in the morning, and he was saying that he was looking for a long right out of the gate, which coincided with what the chart said, and he had a pretty killer day. So congratulations to Peter, and good job to everyone else who got the ES. I didn't. Let's go to NQ really quick, because NQ was actually pretty sloppy for me. And again, I did not do a very good job. If you look this morning, we never made it back to the 50 retrace. NQ's been stronger than ES. I pointed that out in the morning. We just never got down to this 50, 60 retrace. I would have loved to have gotten into that location. And that's the profile. And then again, the other part of that picture was if you look at the ES profile, which we're going to here in just one second, excuse me, the ES 5-minute chart, you will see this is my support level, that 72.84 to 72.79. I was looking to get long out of that location. It just never got down there. We did find location down here at the very end of the day, and I actually did get long and get a profitable trade out of this area. I goofed this the first time. And what you'll also notice there, so this is prior day's low, and you'll see that we actually, this little small yellow zone here actually did act as support resistance throughout the day, but eventually just got crisscrossed over. And so this is important, particularly for guys in the room. When you have a major location right next to a support resistance zone, if the market is strong, it's likely to, or weak, depending on which time frame in the market we're in, it's likely to stretch and test these major locations in addition to the support resistance area. But you can see how we danced above and below it all day long. And then here at the end of the day, this 7,303 I want to go and cover that really quick. It was hands down the best trade I had all day. And if we look, where is my chart? Here it is. We'll drag it over. And if you look, when we were down here, get all the way out of Asia. And what I was trying to point out is as we were pushing back towards, so that's the big picture right there, right? And as we were pushing back in, let's back in. So this is the morning lows that we set here. This was Asia lows prior. And if you look, right, so this is the last big push right here. That's a delta wave. That's the last big push that took place at 1246. And look at the divergence that took place underneath here, right? And you can just see that they were bottlenecking it down, and kind of had to think about how were the traders thinking about this day going into the end of the day. So the market was relatively weak. We were down about 50 NQ points. But if you look over to the left, and what they were trying to get to replicate was Friday afternoon, where we did this swan dive of a nasty move right into that. That is what they were trying to replicate in that last hour. This 1340, where we had this big move. It happens every time we have a big down day, and people try to replicate 2 big down days in a row. And it is simply very, very rare to have occur. And you could just, so with that in mind, right? So keep the logic in mind. Look at what ES was trying to do, and then look at our end of the day here. We get this big giant push. Back over here, we get this big giant push right over. There we go. Right over here, right? Here's the bottom of that push. So I look at those delta waves, right? There's the bottom of that push. And the first thing you notice is we get this giant push and it doesn't go anywhere, right? And then subsequent pushes underneath this wave just have nothing on it. As a matter of fact, each subsequent wave gets smaller and smaller. And then what was the next clue that we were going to pop was look at the size of the delta wave right here at 130, right? It's the biggest move since to the upside, actually, of the entire day. If you go all the way back towards 1030 and look at the upside move, this is the move that popped us off the low right here at 948. But since then, we were pretty lethargic to the upside. That is the biggest wave. It's a change in character, and that's what pushed us all the way up. And when you have a profile, so there was one last piece to this, and I want to make sure that I'm on track time-wise. I only have 2 minutes left. So if you look, when you have that profile, right, so this is the profile for today, right? So number one, we were in balance. We were at the very edge, balance. We already had 1 day close at the low. And if you're unable to break that low, and this is the area of acceptance, that blue area is where 70% of the time and the volume occurred through the course of the day. If you can't get a break when you get underneath that the second time late in the afternoon, they make great traps. And what does the market tend to do? And I said it in the room, we tend to sweep the range, and that's exactly what we did. That was the most important lesson from NQ for the day. Again, I hooked it up, but I didn't really hook it up. It just kind of softened the blow for the day. And then lastly, CL, I want to cover that really quick, not to ignore it. It's my favorite trade. I just totally goofed it. In the morning, I had it, and I wasn't trading very well, and I blew the trade out. So this is where I was looking long in the morning. Let me get my 5-minute chart first. Here's CL. So it was kind of funky, right? Here's the 8 a.m., which is where I basically pick up trading. Actually, 9 a.m. is where I usually pick up trading. We came right out of resistance on top, right? There's the yellow zone, provided resistance all night long. Rolls to the downside, gave great trade location and great target up, right? The blue zone is weak, provided early support, rotation back up, failed to get back in the yellow zone, and then it rolled back down to test Friday's low. Friday's low, you could see that they were burying themselves. I want to switch the view over now to that same time frame. Then I will cut it off. I totally goofed this, guys. I'll tell you when I goofed it. I goofed it. Here's where I am looking, right? So number one, see the delta divergences. We're heading into the low on these delta waves. That's clue number one. Clue number two, I am long right in I've got it. I am long right. I want to say I got long right in here at 29. Okay, right here. See, where did I get long? I want to say that I got long on the that's my time. I know it was later than this. I had to get long right here on this bar at 29. Okay, so my target was 39 right here. I missed it. I just think it failed. It went 38. It didn't go 39. I was having a difficult time with NQ at the time. I had taken a stop early on in NQ. And when I didn't get filled here, I waited for the second round to come back around a second time. Again, I couldn't get filled the second time through, got flustered, moved my stop back to break even, which was 29 cents. It was a bad move because, as you'll see, when I entered this trade here, my original stop needed to go either here or here. And yes, you'll see we never came back against that to press that trade or to even get close to the stop. And if I had just sat still, I would have ended up with a 100-tick trade. So that's that. I did not sit still. I didn't give the trade time to develop. You can see at the very end of the day, we finally pushed 59.35. And I didn't do anything else to see all the rest of the day. And there's one last clue in that's important to remember, right? I'm a real trader. So here's what you're going to find in the trading world. The last piece I'll leave with you. Everyone always looks on Twitter like they had a fantastic day, that it was easy, there was no challenge. Of course, there's support held, and of course, resistance held. And then you're over there trading going, how the hell is it that everyone but me is making money, right? And then you go through and you do one or two. So there's two reasons for that. I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to cut it off. There's two reasons for that. Number one, you go around looking for someone who seems to have a perfect solution, and there is no perfect solution in trading. Number two, really, 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 really important, right? If you're going solution hunting instead of finding a method that works for you, like as you'll see between these are various parts of an algo, the delta waves and the profile charts, right? That's my little cake batter mix that I do for each market. And I put those all together, and then I get on runs at times where I make a lot of money. And then I go through the rest of the time where I'm just kind of either I'm off or the market's not moving or a combination of the two, right? In this case today, I was simply off, right? And then you get frustrated. You allow your frustration to catch up with you, and you go off process. And I cannot tell you, the guys I coach, right, they always come to the same conclusion. If I stay on process, I tend to have good winning days and relatively small down days. The moment I go off process, I lose money. So there was nothing for me to make up here because I had the trade long on CL, and anything I would have done would have had to be a contra trade, right? There's really no way for me to catch it once it took off, right? I could have gotten frustrated and tried to fight it or try to look for a trade upstairs and force something up here, which would have been ridiculous. What's the whole point behind that? Know your process, know your trade. Don't shop and find someone who's like, oh, it's so easy. I don't put on my pajamas. Before 9 a.m., I make all my money and I go home. It's not easy. It actually takes work, focus, dedication, and effort. But if you put all those pieces together, right, and you try not to chase every solution, and you just simply find how to get good support resistance areas and then what your patterns look like at the support resistance areas, making money becomes a much easier proposition. Anyways, my name is Simon. If you'd like to send me an email, it's tradenperform@gmail.com. My old email was hacked. I'm sorry about that, but I have no way to recover it. And if you'd like some help with your trading, or you'd just like to join us in the room for a couple of days, send me an email. Have a great day, everyone. I'm going to go work on the charts for tomorrow, and I will do a market preview in the morning. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Or good morning.